Welcome to another episode of Melanated Television. It's your host, Kendra Rochelle, and
Vanessa XIX. Excuse my voice, I'm a little sick.
it's all right. It's that time of the year. You know, it's the fall. If you haven't already got your home remedies together, make sure you get out and get you some purple onions, some ginger root, and some elderberry. Start brewing up some teas and start taking some syrups, honey, because it's definitely that time of the year. The flu, RSV, all kinds of stuff going around.
Yes, for sure.
I was down real bad like a week or so ago with a stomach bug, and then me and my boys tag team on the asthma tip. So
yeah, Raina is overcoming some little chest cold, and now I am in the process of healing as well from my cold.
Hence the deep voice today, but yes. That's all right. We're gonna rock on, y'all. Today at Melanated Television, we want to have a discussion about the right person, wrong time. We've all had those relationship woes where we felt like we knew that person was our person, but something just wasn't clicking. So I want to know, have you ever experienced that? And if so, how did you handle it?
Yes, I want to know, have you experienced it, how you handle it, or if you even believe in that?
About the right person?
Yeah, right person, wrong time.
I definitely believe in it because I feel like sometimes in life, you know, the whole saying people are coming to your life for reasons and seasons. I think when it comes to learning and karmic relationships and divine relationships and things of that nature, people will come into your life to test you, and sometimes you fail those tests because you're really not ready. Mm-hmm. And then other times, like when it comes to karmic relationships, when you have those people that say, oh, I always seem to attract the same type of people, like that's the universe testing you, trying to see, are you still dumb? Are you still gonna fall for those same tricks? Let me send you the same person with a different mask to see, will you still fall for that? So when it comes to having the right person at the wrong time, I think a lot of times that's why people experience so much immense hurt behind relationships, because to be with somebody that you know loved you deeply and you loved them deeply but you just couldn't make it work, that's a different kind of hurt.
See, okay, I'm gonna touch on if I've experienced it, how I handled it, and then why I don't believe in it. Because I don't believe in that term. It's more so, okay. So I would say that maybe I have had a man that was good for me at a point in time in my past. He was good for me, but I was young, very immature. So my immaturities and my false perception of what masculinity is supposed to be, excuse my voice, but you know, I had a lot of false ideals of what relationships was. I was just young, bottom line. So he was good for me, but there was also something within my spirit that was like, yeah, he's not the one.
Right.
And that's why I 100% didn't, you know what I'm saying, give what I could give. And that's why I don't believe in the right person, wrong time. And basically how I handle is we just broke up, you know. But because I feel like the right person is the person you marry. I feel like you've met a lot of good people. And like you say, we have these tests. Like sometimes maybe the relationships are part of tests that we go through. And it's always a mirror of yourself. Like if you continuously fall for the same type of people, at this point it's you. It's something that you're
seeking out for sure. I definitely agree with that. But when it comes to like the whole if that's your person you'll get married, I don't think that's necessarily true, because statistics of marriage show that just because you're married to somebody does not mean that they're your person. Sometimes you make a mistake and you marry people who are not good for you, that are not healthy for you. And one of the things that I think is really weird is like the norm in America is for American men to marry women that they don't like. So like they're married for looks and how that person is on their arm, but it's not the person that they want to marry. Yeah, it's not the person they want to marry. It's not their dream girl. It's not their one, but they are at a point where they want to get married. I was watching a podcast video about that, and a man was explaining how like men, if they're not ready at the time that they have the one in their place, they're going to mess it up and they're going to lose that relationship. But then later down the line, they're going to marry whoever's in their life at that time. Like they're going to want to settle down and have that life with somebody, because having a family is a status. Having a marriage is a status. And so once they reach that stage in their life where they need that status, whatever woman's in their life, whoever they're dealing with, that's who's going to get that. And it really sucks because that woman might get cheated on. that woman might not get the best version of him. That woman might not, even truly
because he's marrying for the wrong reason.
Exactly, he's marrying for status and not because that's the one. So I don't think marriage is a good marker, a good indicator of, oh, this is my person, this is the one. I think it's what we should aspire to when we come across the one, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I know couples who waited 10 plus years waiting to get married because of financial reasons and because of, other things coming into play in the relationship. So,
Yeah, I mean, everybody, the concept of marriage is because you found the right one or the one that you think is right for you and that you're willing to bind. Because, marriage that's deep, the legalities and everything behind it. So it's a lot at stake when you marry people. Mm-hmm. But I think that honestly, the test of time and a marriage is a commitment. So I think that to really determine if you have the right one is more so the longevity. How long have y'all been able to stay together? Like, let's say you don't get married, but are you friends? Like, I don't know. I think it comes with how the test of time with the relationship that you have stands. So,
I don't know. I struggle with the whole concept of the one anyways. That's a lot of pressure. There are billions of people on the earth, and I gotta find one person out of billions of people that's gonna put up with my attitudes, with my sensory issues, with my neurodivergence, with my ADHD, with my with my quirks, with my mouth. Like,
I'm gonna ask you a deep question.
Yes.
Is the man you with right now, do you feel like he's the one, or do you not put that title on him?
I think he is one of my twin flames. I think he is somebody who my spirit resonates with him very deeply. And so the relationship that I've had with him, I haven't had this relationship with anybody else. Like, I've never had this type of experience. The sense of security, the amount of love and the stuff I receive in this relationship is, when I talk about protection of Black women, like, he hits on it on every level. So that's, he's my person. So that's not to say he won't mess up or I won't mess up and he might not be my person years from now, but I'm not wishing that on us. I don't want that for us. I would love for us to be able to look back and talk about the things that we've overcome together. But furthermore, I don't want there to have to be a whole lot of things that we overcome, especially when it comes to infidelities or emotional cheating and stuff like that. So I think it's really important to have those conversations early in a relationship. Establish those boundaries. Well, red flags.
Yeah.
Not necessarily having a conversation about red flags, but when you as a person are seeing red flags in a relationship, when you're dating somebody who might be the one.
I think have potential.
Yeah, potential. One, we got to get out of the whole dating potential, like dating just pushing the potential along. Like, if there's potential there, yes. If the potential isn't flourishing within the first 6 months, let that puppy die. But when you are engaging in a relationship, if you see red flags, I think it's very important to have conversations about boundaries. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times people end up trauma bonded in relationships and then find themselves stuck in relationships years down the line because they neglected their red flags and they didn't set boundaries. And so now they're like, well, we have this history. We have history. I feel like that is the number one reason people get stuck in relationships is because they feel like they have history with somebody. They can't walk away from a situation.
Okay. So the bigger picture, because I was going to say the one, is like, there's, when we break it down, really deciding who the one is or what the one is, it's like, it really doesn't necessarily mean the longevity of how long you know somebody. So I would say the one could be the person who's just good for you, who is right for you, who brings out the best in you, who, not jealous, not competing, truly loves you the way. I don't think a lot of people really know what love is.
I think we have a very distorted concept of what love is. Because me personally, I think love is a choice. I think you actively choose to love. It's choosing to accept somebody's differences with yourself. That's how I view love. So it's like
that's your love language.
Mm-hmm. When you think about when you start off a relationship, how you think everything's so cute, like, oh, they blow, they snort when they laugh, or they snore a little bit when they sleep. The things that you find cute very early on in a relationship end up being the things that when you no longer love them, or when you're no longer choosing them, those become the things that irritate you the most. Like, oh, always snoring when they laugh. Oh, always snoring when they sleep. But that's what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
You literally be like, oh, he's so quirky. He did this, that, and the third. While you love him, but the moment you stop loving that person, everything about them is gonna drive you nuts.
So, yes, right person, wrong time. Have you been through that situation? And how did you handle it?
I'll say yes and no. I'll say it was a no, because the situation that I'm going to describe, without giving too many details, because I am engaged, he's married. When you are with somebody, I do believe every relationship teaches you something. And I learned a lot about what I require from romantic relationships from this relationship. And it wasn't until I left the relationship that I was like, oh, okay, that's what I really wanted. But I had to leave that alone because he was younger than me, and it was a lot. It was a lot of pressure on me in other aspects of my life that I really couldn't focus on romantic relationships. So for me, it was the wrong time to focus on love. Like, I really felt like everything was a distraction. And when I was in college, that was one of the things that guys told me a lot. Like, apparently I could have been married. Well, I was married before, but I could have had way more proposals, but I was not taking guys seriously. When guys was talking to me, I would be like, oh, you just want to lay, you not trying to like get to know me. I was in college, so I feel like that's how all the guys were at that time. So, at my teen year reunion, going back to homecoming and stuff, guys would tell me like, oh, I always had a crush on you, but you wasn't taking nobody seriously. You wasn't looking at guys like that. And I really wasn't in college. So that person that I left when I was in college, like, we had a great relationship. It was beautiful. It taught me a lot about what I need in relationships, but at the same time, I was not prepared to give him the stuff that he wanted at that time. And I was very honest with him. Like, that was one of those things, like, as much as I do love you and I love our relationship, I know I'm not capable of loving you the way that you deserve to be loved. Yeah, and so I walked away. Yes. And it was hard, but I thought it was very necessary too. Like, otherwise it would have felt like I was stringing him along while I was going through all my emotional bullshit and dealing with college and stuff. Because college is hard. Shoot, I was stressed out. I was out there surviving on $400 paychecks every 2 weeks. That's what college is, though. Like, you really living your best absolute life.
Yes,
with minimal resources.
For sure. Yeah. So I would say that another reason why I personally don't believe in the concept of right person, wrong time is because I've been in situations where I felt like this person was the one for me. Mm-hmm. I thought that this was the one. But time and time again, you see why they're not. And it's like, okay, maybe this is just a little flaw that we can work through. But then, no, this is who this person is. This is how they operate. Right. It's been so long. You know what I'm saying? It's been so long and you still see no progress and no change. So, yeah, I just don't.
I think that's when we get hung up in the potential.
Potential, basically. And this is what I had told my friend one time. Because she was actually talking about, like, one of her friends that are, like, on drugs now. But they a rapper, great artist. Like, the person has talent. And I'm like, I believe everybody has potential. Every single person on this earth. Like, that is what God put in us. Right. Our Creator put in those tools, that foundation. And it's up to us to actually seek it out and fulfill that, purpose of who you are. So, not everybody's going to seek that out. Not everybody's going to be strong and dedicated to being the best that they can be. So, you may be someone who's striving to be the best, and you're around somebody who's content with life, and they already feel like they're, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yes, that's what I think about the whole potential thing. But I would just say, if you're going to be with somebody, you're going to be with them. If you're going to do right by somebody, and this is the person that you consciously decide, like, I love this woman, this man, your actions are going to show. It's just bottom line, it's actions. And I don't think a lot of people are even instilled with really what love is or were loved right. Like certain parts of people's brains have not been stimulated, and they're ignorant to what a lot of things really are.
So we talked about have we ever had a situation that was like right person, wrong time? So I want to know, because it sounds like we're shifting the dynamic, the conversation a little bit, and I want to know, have you ever found yourself in a relationship and realized that your partner didn't like you? Because I feel like that happens a lot of times. Like,
I realized I didn't like them.
Well, did you stay when you realized that you didn't like them? How long did you stay after? How long did you stay after you realized you didn't like him?
For a minute.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if it was just something that we could. Like sometimes I'm like, is this something that I could work through? Maybe this person just upset me today. Maybe I'm just upset. But then when you start constantly seeing the same behavior trait or just certain little stuff, like, no, this is not my person.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, like if it is your person, I mean, if you are hung up on that person being the one and you're trying to make the relationship work through the potential, you will love everything that they're doing and all the effort. So things that are red flags in the beginning usually become the things that you break up with them for in the end anyway, especially if you ignored them. So I think it's important to acknowledge when you realize somebody does not like you in a relationship. I had a situation like that where one of the people that I dated for the longest amount of time, we were together for about 5 years, he hated every single hobby that I became interested in, and it was almost like he did not want me to change as a person. He hated the idea of me evolving. It's like we were together when I graduated college, and so in the time after college, I was adjusting to be a mom, being a new graduate, trying to become a teacher in the field, and just be an adult, like do adult-like things because I had just left college. So all my hobbies in college consisted of doing homework, going to parties, and doing hair, like hanging with my friends on the yard. So I remember when I first got into gardening. In 2013, like 2014, studying 2015, studying about gardening and what it takes to start a garden and things that you need. And he like, why you want to garden for? Well, what you trying to do? Why is you gardening? Like that's not black people don't garden.
I've heard niggas, not niggas, but like.
People believe that, and it's even so far as like when I go into stores, when I go into stores buying plants and in the garden section, like the lack of attention that I get when I'm in there goes to show like they really don't think I'm in there to pour into my craft or pour into my skill. Even when I'm like asking questions, they're like, oh, well, why do you want to know? Like, because I'm asking, I need this knowledge. But yeah, I got confronted by that a lot, whatever. Because I remember I wanted to learn how to make clothes. I wanted to garden. I wanted to start making beauty products. I wanted to start a YouTube channel. It was so many different things, like ideas that I had that I wanted to try. I wanted to publish a book, just trying to set life goals. Like, let me try this, let me do that, and he was just like, why? You don't need to do that. Like, and it felt like he turned into my biggest hater. Like my college, perfect example. I was a very highly decorated journalist with T News at my alma mater, and after I graduated, the school submitted some of my senior year's articles and editorials to this competition. And I got nominated. So the school paid for me to go to New Orleans to go to this convention to potentially receive an award that nobody in our school's history had ever been nominated for.
Okay.
And he threw such a big fuss. I mean, such a big fuss. He hated the idea of me being in New Orleans.
Did he work? What did he do?
He was great at getting jobs.
Did he work out?
Nothing. Okay. He didn't have nothing going for himself.
No sense of discipline in his life.
I hate to say it like that, but he didn't have any goals, and it was something we argued about a lot because I was very goal oriented and he didn't have any goals. And I was like, even if you cannot fathom a 5-year plan because you didn't think you was gonna be alive past 27, 28, 29, even if you can't do a 5-year plan, think about next year. Set a plan for in 6 months. Where are you gonna be, in the next season of your life? Not even the next couple years. Did he
have a car? Did he have his own place?
Yeah.
Okay.
We lived together. We had a house. I paid most of the bills. We had 2 cars.
Outside of y'all living together, like when you met him, did he live by himself?
He lived with his sister.
Okay, so it's just like y'all were definitely imbalanced. People, you know what I'm saying? You lifted this person up, but they only came up because of you.
But and again, that was me dating potential because it seemed balanced because I was young and fresh out of college. Like my life was derailed a little bit, and he was relocating cities, so his life was derailed a little bit. So it was us establishing a life together. But at the point that I realized that he didn't like me, it was almost like I was trying to convince him, like, you don't like me. Like, why are you holding on to this? Like, let me go. We don't need to be together. And it was like I said earlier, I might not have been his dream girl, but I was the one who was setting up his home. I was the one who was doing the house stuff with him. And so he was like, oh, I can't believe you're trying to leave me over little old nothing. Like, you're trying to leave me over nothing. And I'm like, no, we're just not compatible. The relationship is just not working.
I'm a good dude, or I was good to you, know. That was to your standard.
They really feel like if I didn't hit you, you're a good guy. They be like, if I didn't put my hands on you, I'm a good guy.
And that's when, like, that's come to a point where there's something mentally that people do not going to say, but it's just like a disconnect mentally.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people want relationships, people want love, but people really don't know how to have healthy relationships.
Right. And like, that's even friendships, not just romantic. Healthy friend relationships, healthy relationships with your family members. Because sure. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of people falling out, like people who were best friends fell out over one disagreement. And it's like, y'all were just so close. Y'all kids was bonded together. Y'all was doing everything together. Now y'all don't talk at all. That's weird. That's weird to me.
It is. Now, sometimes certain situations you can't come back from.
True,
but it depends on, you know, if it was a disagreement, yeah, don't get that deep. Mm-hmm. Maybe y'all really just mad at each other. Y'all get over it. You're gonna be like, oh, I miss my friend. Y'all gonna make up. You're just mad right now. So I feel like if you really somebody's friend, you're not gonna stop talking to them forever.
I don't know. So for me, I have broken up with some of my friends, and I have told them blatantly what they did to me. I'm very open with communication. I believe in being open and honest with your feelings because that's the best way to have a healthy relationship. So even with my friends, like if something they've done had hurt my feelings and my friend doesn't see anything wrong with them hurting my feelings, like even if the intent wasn't for you to hurt my feelings were hurt by your actions. So there needs to be a remedy to it so it doesn't happen again. For Otherwise, there's just going to be a boundary put up in my position, like, well, we can't do this or have these conversations or go in these spaces together because I feel unsafe with you. My feelings are not safe with you. So I'm very big on having those type of conversations with people.
Yes. So with right person, wrong time, I just feel like, my stance is I don't believe in it. Because like I said, I think that the right person, I feel like that means you're in the situation and time of your life where somebody's playing with you. That's just what I think of. Like,
but what if you're the person
I feel like that's a manipulation tactic to say.
But what if you're the one playing? Like what? Like,
and if I'm the one playing, then yes, it's still the whole concept of it doesn't change because it's basically there's somebody in a situation that is right, good, ready to accomplish positive things, and they have the wrong person, with them. So, yeah.
Well, I was about to ask, like, after you've gone through the whole breakup portion of it, because a lot of times, if you do, because you don't, so we're going to have to imagine, if you do believe in having the right person in the wrong season of your life, and y'all broke up in your previous season, do you ever think that it's okay to kind of double back on that situation, like later when y'all are both in the right position?
I think it is okay to, but I think that I don't know how many times that really happens. I don't know what's the percentage of people who this person was not good for me. So what made this person wrong for you at that time of your life? What was it that made them wrong for you? Okay, has this person grown from that? Was this person really in like open and honest, like I can't 100% give myself because I'm working on getting my life in order, etc., etc., etc.
Now, what if they say they have changed? What if you see the evidence that they have changed? Are you going to be willing to go ahead and be in a relationship now?
If I feel, yeah, I would. I definitely would. But I don't know. I definitely would. But it depends on what I endured with that person while we was together, you know?
Right.
Like, if this person disrespected me, if this person, certain things I'm not going to forgive. So it depends. It really depends. Like I said, what made you wrong for me? What made you wrong for me? And then move for in the future.
Right.
If it wasn't nothing that you dogged me or whatever, then yeah, I would.
Well, me personally, I don't think people should double back. I think.
You don't think so?
No. So, for instance, if you have a right person at the wrong stage of your life and you come across them later in life, I think that trying to double back is going to have both of you have these expectations like, oh, this is going to work out. This is going to be perfect. And that's not realistic. So in my situation, with my right person, wrong time, later down the line, I had people in my life, both of us had people in our lives like, oh, are y'all going to get back together? You're going to get back together. And I was like, no, he deserves to be. So like I was saying, if you have the right person or somebody that you feel like is the right person and you experiencing them at the wrong time in your life, I personally don't feel like doubling back on that situation later in life would be valuable. In my situation, I was young, had somebody that I deeply loved. We were great friends before, remained great friends after, and I had people on both sides asking us if we were going to get back together, and I was like, no. Like, I feel like he deserves to find somebody that's not going to give up on the relationship and not who is ready to love him when he's ready to be that person for them. So I never felt the need to like step back in and interrupt anything that he had going on in his life, but that would be super duper weird.
And you obviously wasn't emotionally attached to him.
No, I mean, we loved each other and I still love him as a friend, but it was like, it was one of those things where I think a lot of people don't know how to be mature people when they talk about, like you said, like expressing love. I think a lot of people get so hung up in romantic relationships with possessing their partner and having complete dominion over the lover of their life and stuff like that. But to me, that's not what love is. Like, I care about his accomplishments and his health just like I would any of my other close friends. So no, I deeply
love is what God wants for you. I think it's the ultimate form of love. I feel like to love somebody into their higher selves, to push them, put them up there, not glorify or idolize, but definitely
uplift, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like to love someone it's like a flower, like in your garden, you nurture it, you make sure that they have everything that they need to thrive in their environment. So love.
And that's in romantic and platonic relationships, because I'm the same way with my friends. Like, I pour into them, I love them, and I think you can have that type of relationships with friends too. Like, I
definitely agree.
Oh, we were great friends at this time, and that relationship served us in this season, but now we're in a different season, and it's no longer works for us. Like, we can't really be friends. Like, I think a lot of times we experience it as women when we have kids, like the friends that we have that remain childless and we have kids. Sometimes those relationships are hard to like keep together because y'all are in different seasons of your life. You have different values and stuff like that.
Yes, and obviously your friendship is not before your children and you being a mother and take her responsibilities.
But that doesn't make either person in that situation care about the other person any less. It doesn't mean that you're a bad friend. So I think, like, if you are in a romantic relationship and you decide together, like, oh, this isn't working, we got different paths going on in life, we got different goals in life, we can still be friends and end it on that note. I don't think you can take away from the relationship by saying, like, oh, you could have been that attached if you was able to walk away. Because it's like the saying says, if you love something, you let it go.
For sure. For sure. You said if you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, is that what you said? If you love something, let it go. I don't know the whole saying.
But that's how I was like, hey, you know how the saying go. Like,
I know Mariah Carey made a song about it in Butterfly. That's the same.
Oh, that was a great song.
Yeah. That is. So, I think if you love something, me personally, if I love something, I'm not letting it go. Yeah, it's staying with me. The love, all of that. But I would just say, yeah. The right person, wrong time is more so you was good, you was right, but you was dealing with the wrong person, at that time in your life, man. We can play it like that. So,
I mean, there are obvious examples of stuff like that. It's like you know, when you're young, when you're in those crossroads seasons of your life, like right after high school, right after college, when you're starting a career, you could be dating somebody and then career opportunities come up in different cities and different countries. Would you expect your partner to get up and leave their lives and come with you? Or would you expect your partner to forfeit those opportunities to remain there with you because they love you?
My thing is, we're going to figure out how we're going to both go and chase what you trying to chase, and I'm gonna chase some things as well.
But what if your career is telling you to stay in this city? That's what I'm saying. Like, there are obvious situations where things like that have happened, where people like, you know, oh, I gotta stay here because I've got an ailing mother.
Well, it depends, like, on the person, I guess. Like, what's more important, this relationship or your careers? And then, if you want to be together, if you still want to be with this person, you will figure out a way to be together. I know.
Would you be able to do a long distance relationship?
I've actually somewhat did one before.
So could you do it now?
But let me tell you, I couldn't do it then. I couldn't.
Well, at least
I ended up moving out of the States to be with that person. So I had to be with that whoever. I can't do that. I don't see how people can do it, because at the end of the day, you're going to be seeking love. You're going to be seeking what you need from outside sources. Welcome back. We're back, you guys. But so I feel like
what you read on, girl? I know you read a study.
Did my studies? My study was more so asking the general population questions. So I'll ask like 20 people the same question, and I'll get like what their response is, and I'm like, the majority of if it's a lot of this, then I feel like that's the majority of how general population thinks. And there's going to be certain people who may not. So the people who does not answer the question like everybody else do, I'll more so pick their brain a little bit more,
right,
and see why they feel that way. But I've asked people, do they believe in this? And there's some people who say yes, and there's some people who say no, if people believe in the right person, wrong time. And there's been mixed answers. And I've asked men, like I asked a couple men, and they were just like, well, if I want to be with somebody, I'm going to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the time is, if I want to be with that person, commit, sacrifice, dedicate, I'm going to do that.
Right, I'm going to make it work. I can agree with that. I could totally see, like, being in a relationship, like, you know, there are sacrifices that have to be made sometimes, and when you find yourself in a position to have to negotiate and compromise and make sacrifices, if you do it, then great. If you can't, if you find out like this is not the person you're going to choose to make sacrifices for, that's sometimes a hard reality for people. Like, oh, I've been with this person for so long, and now great conversation with Melanated Television. I think the consensus is there might be the right person, but if you choose to not make it work, then that's why it is a wrong time. Because if they are your person and it is y'all's time to shine, things will align. How the saying goes, what's for you will always be for you.
For sure. What's for me is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, thank you guys for tuning in to Melanated Television. My name is Vanessa XIX.
I'm Kendra Rochelle.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.